Alright, so today's video is completely impromptu. No prior plans of doing this. And coincidentally, this is going to be this channel's first movie review. So today's source of discussion is going to be Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway, which at the time of recording was the international release, which is July 1st, 2021. And yeah, I really enjoyed the movie and decided to do this. So let's talk a little bit about it. This has been, for some people, a process of about 30 years for them to see this on film, because Hathaway was originally a 3-novel series that was released in like 1989. I never read it, so watching the movie was the first time I myself have experienced this story. And the story itself is canonically in the original Mobile Suit Gundam universe, which consists of 0079 with Amuro Ray, the White Horse, Rock Halem, whatever you call it, Z Gundam, ZZ Zeta Gundam, Char's Counterattack. Just off the top of my head, that's pretty much what you're looking at. So this movie, you can enter it as a standalone anime blockbuster feature film. Completely cool, fine by itself. A little bit better if you actually understand the nuances, what they're talking about better, by actually experiencing some of the Gundam lore first. So this is available on Netflix, and coincidentally what they've done leading up to this is they've gotten the rights for the original Gundam anime, the adaptations, which were 3 movies, and then my personal favorite, which was Char's Counterattack. And just watch those 4, then this, and you're all set. So this is the first movie that's going to be part of a trilogy. Like I said before, 3 books, so 3 movies. So we get 2 more to look forward to after this. The movie was directed by Shuko Murase, might have butchered the name. He was one of the animators that worked on Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, Operation Meteor, and Mobile Suit Gundam F91. So for those Wing fans, you might find an excuse to watch a new Gundam. And the composer was Hiroyuki Sawano. He did Gundam Unicorn, which had a really cool score. And let's start this review off with just the most bare bones and least spoiler-free plot synopsis that I could give you. So essentially, the movie starts in space. Beautiful eye candy, looking at the moon, the planets, and seeing some wonderful Gundams ride off in the distance. Then, you're exposed to the space plane. Yes, a literal space plane. And that's where you start to meet the cast of characters. So you get that little exposition, you get exposed to the antagonist force for the Earth in this, called the Mafdi group. And these folks end up hijacking the plane. They get their ass handed to them. The plane ends up landing on Earth, has to be questioned by the military, and this is kind of where the main part of the story goes. This is really no spoilers, because you're going to find all this out in the first 5 minutes of the movie. So you start to see Hathaway, who's the main character. His plot gets developed, a lot of major reveals for the Mafdi group, and a little bit more into the lore following up from the original Gundam universe. So then Mafdi decides to be a bunch of D-bags. They attack the city where all of these high-end people, officials, bureaucrats and stuff that were on the original space plane are in the city on hotels and stuff like that. So you have Hathaway, the main character, having to escape all this stuff. Then you get a lot of more political development, a lot more Gundam little nuances, couple awesome mobile suit battles that look really gorgeous. And of course, you get the segue that goes into the next movie. That's your overview plot without spoiling anything really cool for someone that's going into this blind. So I think Netflix will probably spoil more in the description than I will. So next we have our characters. Our lead is Noah Hathaway. If you're a fan of Gundam, you know he's Captain Bright's kid, he was like the captain of the White Horse, the Trojan Horse, the Rock Halem in the original Gundam series, which was part of the Ace team that helped end the first two Neo-Zeon wars. And he comes with high pedigree. It's like a freaking celebrity because of the status of his father. And his journey after he's grown up with his own like ideology and stuff and how it sets into play of this universe. And then you have Mafti Navu Aaron, who is your I guess driving force or the face of the terrorist organization I mentioned before. And I kind of just thought he was your trademark Char character, which essentially every Gundam series takes this concept of a character, this martyr, like ideology, like principle person that's like the driving force behind like any like major political movement. So yeah, but this time he's a pumpkin-headed dude. No, he's really a pumpkinhead. Yeah, I'll let it cut away. Yeah, see? Pumpkinhead. So, the next one is Gigi Adalucia. She's a very mysterious girl who's insanely perceptive, and in the story, like one of the first to notice things happening before everyone else. My theory is that she's a new type, which in the Gundam universe are these people that, because they live in space, away from gravity, their minds have extended to another like plane of existence, so they get like clairvoyance, ESP, all this weird stuff. And a lot of times they can communicate telepathically with others. Yeah, but she's also part of like a love triangle between Noah and the next character, which is Colonel Kenneth Slag. He's your focal point for the Earth Federation forces, which is the opposite of Mafti. He's a cool, like really like refined soldier, composed character, but he is insanely driven by temptations of the flesh. Then you have Graham Noble, who's one of the ace pilots of the Mafti forces. He gets the first cool like battle, like sequence. Not a big spoiler. Then you have Lane Aim, which is a subordinate of Slag. He's the guy that gets to pilot the Gundam for the Earth Federation forces, which is like the most insane, technically advanced, destructive humanoid machine on the planet. And then you have Emeralda Zubia, another like pivotal character from the Mafti forces that they showcase. Outside of that, that's really your core cast with some other ancillary folks. This series will showcase two really awesome Gundams. You have Lane Ames, which is the older of the two, the RX-10F, no, it's the RX-104FF Penelope, that's what it is. That's the one he pilots, and then Mafti, he has his own unique Gundam, which is the RX-105XI Gundam, which is XI Gundam. And according to the lore of Gundam, these are both 5th generation mobile suits. So, the movie itself had phenomenal animation quality. One of my favorite studios is Type Moon. You've probably seen them from like the Fate animes or like Garden of Sinners, which some of the most gorgeous things I've personally ever seen done in this like genre. And this one, whew, it's good, really good. Like stays like true to like the old school roots of like hand drawn, even though it's modern with computers. You can tell like the 3D like models they use for like the suits, but like The textures that they use, that they overlay the characters on top of, look so beautiful. It's just gorgeous. I was watching this originally in Japanese, and I switched it over to the English because I was too distracted with the visuals to really want to pay any attention to the subtitles polluting the screen. Next, we have the music score, which mentioned before was the same guy from Unicorn. He did really good with that series. This movie is no exception. It's very well fitting. It feels like everything that's played just really fits it so well and helps like drive like the story. So yet again, one part of the cinema whole which helps blend and make it complete. The story, not giving you any more than my brief plot overview, was really cool. My first time ever getting to experience it. I really liked it, and I am super stoked to see how it evolves in the next two movies. Just because next to Gundam Wing, the original one is the best. In my opinion. Don't hate me in the comments. Anyone who watches Gundam knows it's very like politically driven, so you can kind of think like Game of Thrones-y if you're thinking like cinema, or think maybe more like Robert Jordan-y if you're going with like a paper medium, but nowhere as convoluted or boring. Still has a lot of like things that are a little bit more for like the die-hard Gundam fans if you've never watched before, but you could still get the feel even without knowing everything. And of course what this series is known for is really cool mobile suit battles. You get two awesome ones. So you get the one when the terrorists decide to be D-bags in the city, which is really cool because you get like this awesome battle, which is completely anti to what you expect from Gundam, because these movies are always showcased from the perspective of like their ace pilots, and from like more or less their point of view, or like a third part, like a third person kind of like view, like visually, to kind of like show everything. And this was actually the second time I can really recall, outside of the opening of G Gundam, where they really like nail it into you, just like the horror and like just like the terror and devastation that these battles cause for the people around them. Just because Hathaway and Gigi end up having this long like sequence where they're like escaping for their lives, and like there's just mobile suits flying around, like things exploding, like, oh, it was so cool, like so good. And then of course you have the like climactic one, which is the two Gundams I mentioned before, crossing paths and having awesome like death battle. Yeah, and as a continuation to the original series, which was like what, 80s, maybe 90s, I don't remember the dates, but yeah, it's well developed. It's obviously geared for much more mature audiences. They'll show like the deaths and everything point blank, so it's not as wish-washed and like I feel like censored as some like their other bits have been. So really cool one for like the older audiences, in my opinion. So I really think that this was an awesome movie, despite my obvious biasness, because I'm a longtime Gundam fan, grew up watching this stuff, so yeah, you put something out, I'm most likely going to watch it, even if I don't like it. But this one, I really loved. It was an awesome movie, beautifully like well done, and just to see like Hathaway, like Noah, like grow up, and because like in the previous ones, he was like Char's Counterattack, for example, he was one of the only like characters that was directly exposed to both forces' ideologies, which was like Char's to destroy like humanity to save the planet, which Mapka has adopted in just more childish and less genocide-y way. And seeing how he formed his views is really cool. So, if you're interested in animation, Gundam, mechs, or just like a interesting anime blockbuster, which you can expect more of, definitely check out Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway. I give it, I don't even know how I'm gonna do ratings, but it's definitely good. Probably like an A out of like a letter scale. We'll go with that. So if you guys like the content being produced here, smash the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.